Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about, in my opinion, the laziest zodiac sign. And yes, it does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Well, the first sign I'm going to talk about is Aries. I don't think it's Aries because Aries is very active, very energetic. They have a lot of enthusiasm, and they are a sign that really has a very high energy level. And it's not a sign that you would associate with being really stagnant for that long. And really, they just have a lot of enthusiasm in them. And when you have that enthusiasm, a lot of times it equates in doing things. And really, they have strong leadership prowess and ability, and it takes work to do that, to be a leader. So for me, it's certainly not Aries. Now, let me get to the next sign, Taurus. Well, Taurus could be a sign, I think, that can maybe vacillate between working laboriously and into being indolent. But I think with Taurus, though, you have that strong ability to work and really work hard. And I think that's why Taurus people often justify going through sometimes protracted periods of where they're just really not doing much of anything. And for me, though, because you do have that strong work ethic in Taurus, to me, I don't see Taurus as being the laziest zodiac sign. So now let me get to Gemini. Well, with Gemini is often very restless, and the word stagnation is really not in Gemini's DNA whatsoever. Gemini could be very restless. They could be mentally and physically active. Their minds are restless and their bodies as well. And Gemini just always seems to want to do something. And I think, and with Geminis even, I think of all the signs in the zodiac, I think they would be more inclined toward insomnia because there's just such a restlessness in them. And really, and when you have that, it's very hard for me to envision them being the laziest zodiac sign. So no, I don't think it's Gemini. Now the next sign, Cancer. Well, as far as Cancer goes, well, Cancer can be very introverted. They could be dominated by home activities, but it doesn't necessarily mean they equate to being the laziest zodiac sign. Now, for Cancer, they often are involved in things that are connected with the home. As far as jobs go, they could be. Cancer seems to often be interested in real estate, home renovation, repair, and just things that are connected with the home. And also the fact that Cancer is often so family oriented. I mean, Cancer often has to work to support that family that figures so prominently in their lives, maybe more so than the average sign. So I'm going to say that it's not Cancer. Now, as far as Leo goes, Leo is a sign noted for perhaps inexorable energy, leadership, and often is a very strong point with Leo. And really, Leo likes to be king. They like to be dominant in their field and in whatever they're doing. And that can take a lot of industry, a lot of hard, persistent work in order to do that. And for me to say Leo would be the laziest zodiac sign, I would think not. So let me go to the next sign now. Now, Virgo. I think Virgo, for me, at least in my opinion, they would take the cake as far as, or the crown, as far as the hardest working zodiac sign. Virgo could be very industrious. They are kind of restless like Gemini, but I think the difference with Virgo and Gemini is that with Virgo, it's often things that are more work related. It could be about health related things, work related issues. and a lot of times just making things very orderly and organized, and it's more about work. With Gemini, work may be in the mix, but a lot of it's just a general mental and physical restlessness with Gemini, and Gemini is more about doing multitude of things and wanting to do many different things and wanting variety, and to keep that going they almost have to keep moving and thinking, and really I think that's really the difference with the two. So with Gemini, with Virgo, it's certainly not, it certainly would not be Virgo. Virgo seems like they're basically the workaholic of the zodiac, so I would not, I don't think Virgo is the laziest zodiac sign. So let me get to Libra now. Well, some people seem to think Libra is the laziest and most indolent of the zodiac signs. I don't think Libra is. Libra is the sign of balance. They're about equilibrium, and they seem to disperse their energies very evenly. Libra can work to a certain degree, a certain level, but they also know when to relax and when to take it easy. They like to have that balance as far as that goes between their private and work life or whatever else is going on in their life. So for me, I would not say it would be Libra. So let me get to the next sign now. Now the next sign is Scorpio. Well, Scorpio is not just ruled by Pluto, but it is ruled by Mars, and Scorpio could be very action-oriented, and Scorpio is a sign associated with crisis. Scorpio could be very crisis-oriented. They almost feel like they need to take action in many situations where a lot of people would certainly not take action, and because I think there are a lot of Scorpio people, Sun, Moon, Ascendant Scorpio people, a lot of them may think, well, nothing will happen unless they do something. So they feel, to me, Scorpio is not the sign that I would equate with the laziest sign. And Scorpio being very resilient, they're about transformation and figuratively rising from the ashes as well. If they're unsuccessful in something, they're the sign above all other signs, I believe, that will bounce back, and they may even try something different and emerge victorious and flourish at that. So they're not one to really go into a corner and say, well, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just not going to do anything because something didn't work out. So they are very relentless, and to me, I think that applies to their work habits as well. So I don't see Scorpio as the laziest zodiac sign. Now, let me get to Sagittarius. Well, with Sagittarius is about, well, they can be very fun-loving. They could be into things that are connected with enjoyment, but Sagittarius also has an abundance of energy, and really they have a need for travel, and they also can be really inclined toward jobs that require a lot of traveling. And for me, I mean, it's not just about, as far as Sagittarius goes, they might have a fun side to them, but they're like perpetual learners, and to do something where you are that perpetual learner, you don't stop learning. This is often applied at jobs that they do. I see Sagittarius as a sign that really is like, even at their job, if they're very proficient at it, they still would like to learn more in connection with it. And learning more often involves doing other things that, in addition to what they've already learned and applied at their job. So for me, it would certainly not be Sagittarius. Sagittarius has a lot of exuberance. They're very expansive, very positive, and when you have that attitude, it's going to equate to you doing positive things for yourself and doing things to help to enhance your life, and that does often, of course, involve doing things that are work related. So anyway, the next sign, Capricorn. Well, Capricorn is a sign that, of course, is very industrious and could be very hardworking, very ambitious. They're type of, they're very consistent. And Capricorn is certainly, in being often involved in business, and business figuring prominently in their life scheme, career-related matters figuring strongly. That this is certainly not a sign I would equate with being the laziest zodiac sign. So no, I would not say Capricorn. Well, let me get to, okay, Aquarius now. Well, Aquarius is really, this is a sign that could be very cerebral. They could often be involved in innovations more so than the other signs, I believe. With them, it's often more about mental work, I think, with Aquarius as opposed to physical work. And with Aquarius, it's really, they are often involved in humanitarian endeavors, and they're not just doing things for their own life to subsist and survive. Aquarians are often involved in selflessness and selfless giving to other people, and that does require a certain energy used, and it's not a sign I would really think would be the laziest zodiac sign. So let me get to, last but not least, I'm going to get to Pisces now. Well, yes, I did choose one in this video. I know in some of them I don't, but this one I am going to choose one, and it is Pisces. And I'm just saying that with Pisces, just a little, just by a hair, they take the crown. And with Pisces, a lot of this, I see this sign as the laziest zodiac sign, partly because Pisces can often be a dreamer. Pisces is a sign that can really be about fantasizing, and they're not what you would call action-oriented, say like an Aries or a Scorpio type personality. Pisces, what happens with them, another thing about Pisces is the fact that Pisces, the theory that some have is that what Pisces is, they're really an amalgamation or combination of the first 11 zodiac signs, which can cause a lot of confusion, a lot of ambivalence, and this can often lead to not having any activity. And another thing with Pisces too, sadly, as many of you know, that out of all the signs, I mean, okay, Pisces is ruled not just by Jupiter, but by Neptune. And Neptune gives it that a little stronger propensity and inclination toward drugs and alcohol. And what happens is, when you have that propensity toward that, it really can cause one a greater chance of being stagnant and idle and not having really that ambitious side to him or her. So that's another reason as well. And I think another reason I see Pisces as being the laziest zodiac sign is because you have Pisces. What happens is they're very sensitive, and I think too sometimes they get involved, they're more impressionable, I think, than any of the other zodiac signs. They get involved with the wrong contemporaries, the wrong peers, which of course could lead them to a negative situation. It could lead them, if they have friends that are drinking, they might do the same thing, for example, more inclined to do what their friends are doing and copy them. And also, being as sensitive as Pisces is, the problem is with Pisces being as sensitive as they are, I think what happens is something negative will happen to Pisces, and they're more inclined than the other signs, I think, to kind of go into their little secluded place or solitude, and which causes that lack of action for a protracted period. And another thing, when you look at Pisces, it's just not just the sensitivity. Pisces, of all the signs, might have the most difficulty in confrontation. And when you have that difficulty, and that sometimes it's even confronting things that are work-related, and I think that's another reason I put Pisces as the laziest zodiac sign. Now, don't get me wrong, people. Most Pisces people, I don't believe are lazy, because you could have contraindicators in your chart. Somebody, say, that has a Pisces sun could have a Virgo ascendant, and vice versa. You could have the ruler of the first house in the sixth house, the ruler of the sixth house in the first house, you could have a preponderance of earth signs in your chart that will help won't cancel it out completely, but will modify that perhaps that Pisces a little bit more inclination toward indolence. And what I'm saying is Pisces just on average, I think, is just a little bit lazier than the other 11 zodiac signs. And many Pisces people can actually be very industrious and hardworking. It could be more, though, toward the creative fields as opposed to physical, laborious work. Many Pisces people, I think they're probably about the best in as far as maybe even, well, astrology is Scorpio as well. It might be a little bit of a tie between Scorpio and Pisces. Astrologers, I know a number of people that have Pisces prominent in their charts that are very good at astrology, very proficient at it. You have, I mean, they could be very good in spiritual things, work connected with the feet, water professions, oceanography, for example, poets, even dancers can be very, Pisces can often be prominent in those people's charts. So when I look at Pisces, I mean, and they're also very good at things with illusion, special effects. I see Pisces doing that, many Pisces doing that field very well. And to me, and like I said, and it's really, and most Pisces people are not lazy, I don't believe, especially you're in the United States with the economy it is, regardless of your chart and your your signs. I mean, most people almost have to work. So that really, I'm just saying, on average, they're a little bit more lazier than the other 11 signs is what I'm saying, and that's all it is. And anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the laziest zodiac sign. And stay tuned next time where I'll be continuing my transits in the signs series. I should say transits and planets in the sign series. Anyway, people, two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.